Right, okay, we're at Celtic Park after Celtic 2, St Mirren 2. Weather report is it's quite a calm day. That match wasn't very calm. That was a frantic game.
It was actually quite an enjoyable game, obviously,
so,
despite the result, and I think St Mirren contributed to that. They
Yep.
came and I thought they were pretty decent. And as much as obviously it wasn't the result we wanted again, I think the energy from the team was fine. Just some of the obviously the quality, and we'll touch on obviously some of the more finer details of it. But it was pretty frantic, and you were engaged right throughout, I thought.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Disclaimer: I wasn't looking forward to today. I've struggled all week, and in fact that's a lie. I haven't even thought about the game all week, and then this morning I'm just like, oh, we're not getting the trophy. That's next week. There's nothing. It's a nothing game, really. I think I said that yesterday. I kind of went in with low expectations today. Maybe that's why I've come away feeling quite good about myself for some reason. I quite enjoyed that game, as you say. It was enjoyable to see a team take the game to us. I thought Celtic did some good things. Generally, though, it was a poor performance by our high standards again.
And it's been the kind of theme for a while, hasn't it, Hamish? We've been saying it. Since Kilmarnock first half, we've not really put on a proper performance.
How worried about that are you?
In the context of, do I think we're still going to win the treble, which is the end goal, and we're all going to be absolutely buzzing? No, but I was discussing that with my brother there, and obviously as the weeks go on, we're still not finding our full gear. You do worry about it. I think we'll have too much still, regardless. But it just feels like almost like we're just waiting for that game now and waiting for the celebrations for the last couple of weeks, isn't it? It just feels like
the fans are as well.
Yeah,
so it's like
flat.
it's almost understandable, but. There is a fair bit of kind of frustration going about today. I think just based off of last week at Ibrox and the fact we didn't maybe get too much of a reaction today. We can talk about the game. It might not be our longest video this, but there is stuff to talk about. I thought, honestly, and again, people might disagree, I thought first half we did some good things. I thought Rio Hatate was getting on the ball. Obviously, the goal we scored was just brilliant. What a finish from Kyogo. Jota had wee bits and bobs. I thought Maida struggled today. We did some things going forward, but defensively we were all over the place.
I think that's the take home. Is I thought the energy, like you say, was good. I thought we came out the traps, and the tempo was good. I thought we were creating chances. It was kind of an end-to-end flow to the game. But the immediate thing that you take away is the defence and how shaky we look now without Carter Vickers and
Johnston, I think.
Yes, you're right, and it's two of our best defenders. No, that's Harsh and Starfelt as well, who again I thought was fine. But it just seems that he's the rock. Carter Vickers, in terms of when he's not there, as a collective, we seem that we can be got at. We tried Kobayashi last couple of weeks, didn't convince, and I thought it was a big statement from Ange today, almost as if, right, Iwata, you can stake your claim for the final, and he didn't convince.
I wouldn't be keen to see Iwata at centre back again.
That's a big worry, not a big worry, but that's a take home, I think, in the last couple of weeks, that a couple of injuries to our starters, and as much as we've talked about the squad depth all season, naturally when you take out two of your best players you can see a drop off, and defensively it's showing, because St Mirren, that's twice now this season they've caused us big problems. Curtis Main, he's a solid professional, but should he be causing us that many problems?
Scored 5 goals a day.
For me that's a take home, that the defence needs, and Joe Hart again I thought was a bit shaky on the goal.
So you really got a much better view than me of the goals. They both looked pretty poor. The second one in particular, who was to blame for them?
The first one, a combination. I think it was a trio. Ralston, I think initially when
Ralston tried to tackle.
And it was I don't know. And then Iwata was kind of bullied off it. And then I thought Joe Hart looked poor. I'll need to see it again, but looked poor, slow with the getting down to it. So for that one, and then the second one again, just kind of bullied. I'm not sure who was marking Main for it, but. It just looked like it was all over the shop there defensively. So that was and they could have scored a few more. That's the thing. But as you said, we did some good things well. I thought going forward, the passing seems a bit sloppy right now, and I include Callum McGregor, who's usually flawless with that. I just thought he wasn't at his best today either. It is, this happens all the time though. I remember it under Martin O'Neill. As soon as you win the league, Strachan. As soon as you win the league, the drop off. We lost Brendan Rodgers. I think we lost his first home domestic game after we'd won the league, and I was worried that was going to happen today. But thankfully, we maintained that. We didn't lose.
I mean, just going back to the defence, I was kind of looking at it after about half an hour, and of the 5 of them, including Joe Hart, I think only Starfelt was having a decent game. It's very clear Curtis Main was kind of pulling on to Iwata, and I had a wee bit of sympathy for Iwata. he's not a centre back for me. He really isn't. He's a holding midfielder, or even a more advanced midfielder. He's not a centre back. And someone like Curtis Main he's maybe not a great player. Certainly not one of the better strikers in the league, but he's physical and he has a bit of speed about him as well, and he really kind of plays in weakness. I think we saw that at the game they won in Paisley when it was Jens and Welsh that day, and him and the other striker, I think Kayunga his name was, or Ayunga, and he
they both bullied Welsh.
But I looked at it and none of them were real. I thought Ralston was poor, Taylor was kind of off it, and Iwata was struggling, and Joe Hart as well. I mean, as I've already asked this, but how much of a concern, is it going forward that when you take Carter Vickers and Johnson out, they struggle badly? Yeah,
so we've got Inverness in the final, but if that was a team of a more dangerous team potentially, St Mirren, or say we had another derby game again, and you would worry, and that's something again. Maybe this has been an eye-opening couple of weeks for Ange, for us as fans, that beyond, like the thing with Carter Vickers, as you said, Main's not a brilliant striker, but he played on the weakness. When Carter Vickers there, I don't think any striker in this league fancies it. I got up against him or can beat him in a duel.
Carter Vickers settles everyone else around him. Starfelt plays better when CCV's there. Taylor, Ralston or Johnson play better. Joe Hart plays better. He's just such a calming influence.
And the thing with Starfelt, I think throughout this he's still playing well. But it's the collective that I notice it's really impacted. So that's something to look for in the summer in terms of going forward, how we can address that. And that's why I think, as much as these last couple of weeks have been disappointing, potentially beneficial, because it's for Ange as well. He's learning, and that's why he probably put Kobayashi in last week. Wanted to see how Bernabe, Kobayashi, how they tackled that kind of atmosphere, because that's what we're going to be facing in Europe. And that's the next step for this team. And he's maybe getting some answers.
I thought it was interesting that neither Bernabe or Kobayashi started today's game or featured at all.
To try and redeem themselves.
Because I had there was an argument, send out the same team and see if they can, as you say, redeem themselves. But I thought that was interesting. I think that was Ange kind of saying, that wasn't good enough last week. I thought, for the record, Iwata did do some good stuff going forward with the ball. He moved the ball quite quickly, so you can see why it would work, and it maybe would work against other teams in our league, but just St Mirren are a decent side. I know we kind of let them play a lot of stuff today, but I look around their team and I thought that the left back, I think Thierry Small his name was, was really good on Jota before he went off injured. I like O'Hara. I think Bacchus is a good player. They've got a number of really kind of decent players. Gogic kind of does a job for them. Like they're not a bad team, and they're probably outside the Rangers giving us our hardest games this season.
At Celtic Park as well. Even the ones that we beat them comfortably, I thought they still
cup game was tough. So there's no disgrace in that today. But I just think we expected a little bit more. But how natural is it though? The team have been like going in this hamster wheel all year. 3 points, been relentless, and then when they get the job done, there must be a bit of a drop off.
You're right, and that's what we just touched on. This is going back as far as I can remember. Like you said, the relentless Martin O'Neill teams and under Strack and Brown and Rodgers. I think part of it is just because what we know what Ange is like, and I don't think he'll be happy. Whereas some managers, they'll probably again be not accepting of it, but aware that complacency can kick in. It's just a natural reaction. The hard work's been done, but I don't think he's been happy. And you're right. Even the kind of lineups today, and the fact that certain players didn't feature, maybe shows where his head's at in terms of he doesn't feel that was good enough last week, and he probably again today will feel frustrated. He made the changes a bit later today as well, than
67,
70
like
minutes.
That,
So.
I thought the changes made a difference as well. I thought O came on, he had that shot off the post. It kind of added a bit of kind of good word. I don't know what I was going to go for. It added something to performance. It was so kind of flat for the entirety of the game. The amount of times like we just passed the ball sideways or back, and I felt at least when they came on, Abada was trying things. Haksabanovic was getting involved. The McGregor goal was brilliant. I mean, it's important to keep this unbeaten run going at home. St Mirren, I think, are still the last team to beat us domestically at Celtic Park in the COVID season.
And I know Ange doesn't like to kind of talk about these things or say that he's aware of them, but deep down he will be, and the players, this group of players, will be proud of that fact that it's 2 seasons domestically unbeaten. One more game to go to confirm that, so it is a good record. And you can see it, like, as much as obviously it's a meaningless game, but the reaction to that equaliser was pretty good, and it would have, the roof would have came off if we'd got that third, as if it was a normal game.
Well, some people still left early, which is up to them, but
a given, isn't it? But so I think it does mean a lot to these players, and we've got a final to look for. That's the thing. It's not just a season petering out and another season like last season. Once the league was done, that was it. We've got a big game still to go, and I think it is important to remember that, because I think obviously because it's Inverness, there might be a sense of everyone just thinking we're going to turn up, we're going to win, which we should, but it's still a big occasion that we'll need to be better than we've been for 3-4 weeks now.
So we've got Hibs on Wednesday night. I think we might see some changes for that, just given that it's a midweek game. I can't remember the last midweek game we had. We then go Aberdeen next Saturday. I'm guessing that Ange will want to really round the league season off in style like we did last year against Motherwell. I think you'll get your full team for that.
I think so.
The stadium will be packed again. The atmosphere, it's just going to be a totally different atmosphere to today. Today was kind of people just kind of going through the motions on and off the park. Next week everyone's going to be up for it. It's a big day, and we know from last year that trophy days are much more special when you turn up and actually win it. I think trophy days are important games because you remember trophy days.
It sets the tone, because there have been some flat ones in the past.
Aberdeen a few under Rodgers when we lost, and it was still good, but last year was like amazing.
Was it 7 we put it past Motherwell?
6 I think. 6.
But some of the goals as well, if you remember Kyogo's goals, and you're right, it just sets the tone of what's been an amazing season.
It also sets the tone for the final as well.
For the final, and it's a fitting end to what's been a great season, rather than kind of ending it with a whimper, which the last couple of weeks feels like. So you said it in a couple of videos during the week. The team has got a lot of credit in the bank, the manager, the clubs, so we're not going to be too critical, but at the same time we have to comment on what we've watched in the last couple of weeks. Haven't been great, so we can't shy away from that. As long as, like you say, I think midweek we will see changes, and I don't know if I'm not expecting too much from that game. Hibs away, it's one of those kind of...
It's a weird thing to say, but I think it might be a struggle to win that. If we see changes, and hopefully we get a better performance, but
they'll be up for it. They've got a lot to play for. But I think you're right. I think we'll see changes, and I think we'll see what will be the cup final side on the next Saturday for that. And hopefully that'll be the one that gets us back to full form again.
We really need to make the league closer next season, don't we? Take it to the last couple of games, because I enjoyed today's game, but I think I've detached myself from the kind of rigour of having to win games at the moment. I'm just happy to go along and watch this Celtic team play. I'd rather they played much better, but as I say, I enjoyed bits of that game. St Mirren came, had a go. St Mirren could have scored like 5. Curtis Main could have scored 5 goals. He scored 2. He had a header or a chance that just went wide. He had a header over the bar. He had the one that hit the post. We equally could have scored a few as well. We had the low shot off the post, chances late on. So it was a really enjoyable game. I thought the atmosphere was good. The fans didn't really turn on the team. I thought it was generally a positive atmosphere.
And I wouldn't expect them to. And I think our fans are aware enough on the main, like that. We've been brilliant all season, and we've been gushing in the praise. So it's only natural. And I think last week, obviously, there's been a lot of chat about last week, and I think that got its rightful place in terms of you have to look at it on the bigger picture as well as criticise what was an abject performance. But these next couple of weeks should be back to all about celebrations and hopefully seeing some good football again. And it's like we said, it's just a bit of natural complacency. But I'd be interested to see what Ange makes of that, because he does seem the perfectionist Pep Guardiola kind of style of these games are still important, and he wants to see the constant development of this side.
Yeah, I just wonder how realistic that is. I mean, he's the first one to say it. They are human, and we should have played better today, but as I keep saying, when you're going to the max every single week to hit that top level, and they have, virtually every week this season, they've hit a good level, they've scored goals, they've won games. When that league gets won, there must be some sort of drop-off. The question is whether we can turn it back on for the cup final, but the cup final's a big game. Looking forward to it. Anything else from today? Any kind of players? I thought O was good when he came on, a couple of good touches. Who would your man of the match been? Because they didn't give it out today. McGregor maybe for that goal.
McGregor, but I didn't think it was his greatest game in terms of his passing ability, which is usually on point. There wasn't really any standouts, was there?
Hatate was decent.
Hatate, first half I thought Hatate was still doing some things well. Probably give it to Rio. I thought Matt O'Reilly was decent as well. And like I said, there was parts of our play in that first half which was still decent. But we were just waiting for that kind of, like you say, I think they will. I think we'll lift it again. And then we've got a big summer to look forward to. But these players deserve, like you say, us cutting them some slack, and what should now hopefully be a good couple of weeks of celebrations and big days to look forward to.
Yeah, just on the summer, do you think Ange, over the last couple of games and seeing maybe some of these poor performances, do you think does it strengthen his hand at all? Does it strengthen, the feeling in his mind that maybe, maybe if you go with the exact same squad, there's a danger that things get slightly stale, given they've achieved so much domestically. I think he was going to do this anyway, but does he now bring in a couple of real quality players?
I think even more so. It's an interesting point you say that, because I do feel, and he's talked about it, he goes, if he ever senses any sense of comfortability in players, he'll replace that and bring guys in who are hungry. And I think that's how you keep, like, because we've been so dominant domestically, that's in that you look at it throughout. Again, I kind of touch back to even Martin O'Neill's time. It's something after maybe 2 seasons of dominance, you do sometimes see a drop off in the third, because it's asking that same group of players to be as hungry week in, week out in these domestic run-of-the-mill games, and they're human. So I think we will see that, and I think you're right. I think Ange will maybe look at that and be right, okay, he knows what we need. And Scott mentioned it in midweek as well in the video, Scott McDonald, just about how, like, you have to, if you want to develop and you want to see that next step up in terms of Europe and just the week in, week out stuff, it might be the case of bringing in some players of an even higher quality.
I think we're going to see that, and I think it's so exciting. I mean, it's just there's talk of him getting a lot of money to spend. And
the thing with the Champions League thing's a game changer. We spoke about it all season, but for me, it just makes it so much more exciting that summer, because you're not worrying, are we going to qualify? Are we then going to strengthen? Now we know what we're going to get. You can already, pitch that to players. It just makes it a lot more appealing. And like you said, the money guaranteed. I think we now can actually use that to actually really heighten where we can go with this squad, and I'm looking forward to summer recruitment.
Can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting home and having a wee beer tonight. It's actually stayed dry, which is unusual, and it's quite calm as well, so we're going to head off. We'll catch up with you soon in the channel, Asim, but thanks again for joining us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Drop points for Celtic. Yes, we can play better, but hopefully we will, for the big one, or the big ones coming up. We'll chat to you soon.